super heavy duty build, customizable dynamic lighting, and a sound that will well and truly knock your socks off. This is the TRIBIT StormBox Blast 2, and if it's the big bass that you're after, then I think you're gonna like this one. Hey guys, Louis here from Smart Home Sounds, and as I'm sure you've already guessed, this is the second iteration of TRIBIT StormBox Blast portable party speaker. Now, these boombox style party speakers have made a bit of a comeback in recent years, and we've seen some really great options from brands like JBL, Sony, and Soundcore, to name a few. So with TRIBIT's latest release offering a massive 200 watts of max output and coming in considerably cheaper than something like the JBL Boombox 3, I, for one, am super excited to see how this one performs. Now, with an RRP of £254, you keen-eyed TRIBIT fans may notice that this one is a little bit more expensive than the previous version, but as you'll find throughout this video, it is a significant upgrade. Now, before we get into all of the nitty-gritty though, I do just want to give a quick shout out to the team over at TRIBIT for sending us this one to test out. But as always, the thoughts that we share in this video are 100% our own and based on what we found during our own testing. We're just here to help you decide if this is the right speaker for you. So let's kick off with the design then, and despite this being classed as a portable speaker, it's less of a traditional grab and go kind of model and more of a dedicated party speaker. It still has that same classic boombox shape as the old version, but it's been seriously beefed up this time. Now, the first thing that you'll notice is just how heavy this thing is. At over 19 pounds, it's an absolute beast to carry around. But with that heavy weight comes a much more heavy-duty exterior, and it offers an IP67 rating for water and dust protection, a big improvement on the IPX7 rating of the previous version. Now, on the outside, you've got this pretty hard-wearing plastic casing with metal grills, and then there's some rubber accents throughout for extra grip. You've got your two woofers on either side here, and then this big handle for easier carrying. Just like the last version, the big standout feature on this speaker is these RGB lights on the front here. There's 3 different light modes that are all controlled within the TRIBIT app, and these actually sync up to the beat of your music. Now, I have got to be honest with you guys, I'm not normally a fan of anything like this, but to be fair, I actually really like what TRIBIT have done with this one. It feels a lot less tacky and something that I can actually see myself getting good use out of when I'm hosting a party or something like that. On the top, you've got a great selection of controls. So we've got power and the battery life indicator, Bluetooth pairing, volume, multifunction button, RGB light controls, extra bass button, and true wireless stereo pairing button, but more on those later. Now, if we flip it around, you'll also find your AC power supply, USB-C out for charging your phone, 3.5mm aux in for wired listening, and dual mic inputs with dedicated karaoke controls. Now, it's also worth mentioning that this one's only available in one colorway. Now, that's not a deal breaker, but something to keep in mind nonetheless. Overall, I think this is exactly what you'd expect from a party speaker. Now, no, it's probably not something that you're gonna have sitting on top of your mantelpiece, but if you're after a speaker that doesn't mind waiting in the wings until it's time to take center stage, then you'll have absolutely no complaints whatsoever with this one. Plus, although it is heavy, I do think the shape does make it easier to maneuver than some of the other party speakers like the Sony SRS XV500B, for example. Now, in terms of other features, it still boasts the same 30-hour battery life as the original. Now, that's actually better than most speakers in this category, and that will easily last you all day and all night. Plus, if you really are pressing send at a party, then you can always plug it straight into the main, so you don't have to worry about charge at all. Now, it does also double as a power bank too, so you can charge your phone or other device whilst you're listening. But just be aware that this will, of course, drain the battery a little bit quicker. There's also some really nifty connectivity features too. So, along with the Bluetooth 5.4 that's on board, you can actually pair 2 of these StormBox Blast 2s together using the TWS feature for a true stereo sound experience. Now, it's super easy to do, and though I don't see loads of people having 2 of these going spare at home, if a friend has got one, it will be a really, really great way to really ramp up the party. Now, quite honestly, this speaker is packed with features, and features that most people would use fairly regularly. Now, the only thing that I can think of that's missing is some built-in mics for voice assistants or calls. But that being said, setup is super easy. You can listen straight out of the box, but if you delve into the TRIBIT app, there's some extra features to make use of. So what I love most about this app, guys, is just how simple and easy it is to use and to navigate. So on the home page, you can see we've got our battery percentage indicator. So this speaker is currently on charge at the moment. We've then got our volume slider, play, pause, and skip track controls. Now next up, if we head on the bottom here to the light tab, you can then see that we can adjust the lighting controls. So you can actually turn these completely on or off if you'd like to. I'm going to turn them on, and then we've got 3 different modes that we can adjust settings within. So if I click on the settings wheel here, you can now see that I can adjust all sorts of things. So I can adjust the light bars, the middle light, and the side lights. And I can choose the colors, so whether they cycle through the colors, rainbow effect, or a completely customizable color of my liking. Can then adjust the brightness of that. And then at the bottom there is the rhythm of the color. So whether it changes to the bass, the treble, the bass and treble, or just freeze. So again, you could spend hours in there. Now, speaking of spending hours in settings, you can also adjust a completely customizable 10-band EQ as well. Now, I've created one here called Test. So I'm just going to go into that one. And as you can see, I've got 10 sliders that I can adjust to my liking. Again, you could spend ages really fine-tuning and tweaking the sound performance to get one that you're happy with. So I'm just going to move out of that one and go into the preset EQs. Now, this is where we've got a load of different EQs that have already been pre-made, but there's 2 that I really want to focus on. The first one is X bass. Now, we have done a sound demo in this video where we've got X bass turned on and off. So hopefully you guys heard the difference there. It really just does what it says on the tin, right? It just increases the bass performance. And the final one that I want to talk about is X3D, because this offers an immersive 3D sound performance, which is actually far more impressive than what I thought it would be initially. I wondered whether it'd be a little bit gimmicky, but it does actually create a really impressive 3D sound, given the size and form factor of this speaker. We have got a couple of other little bits of functionality in here. So we've got like voice prompts that we can turn on or off. We can adjust the auto shutdown, the volume indicator. And you've also got things like countdown to shut down. So if I turn that on, I can set a time limit for when I want the speaker to turn off. So nice little added bit of functionality there as well. Right then, on to sound performance. And as you already know, because this is a portable speaker, it doesn't need to be plugged into the mains power to function, but the included AC cable in the box can help improve the overall performance, so that's definitely something worth noting. Now, under the metal grille, you'll find a 2.1 channel array with a powerful 80-watt subwoofer, dual 45-watt mid-range drivers, and 2 15-watt tweeters that all combine to crank out a massive 200 watts of sound when plugged in, or 180 watts when running off the battery power. Now, that's double the output of its predecessor and more than enough to fill a room or a small outdoor area. But rather than me just tell you about it, I'm going to give you guys a quick listen so you can make your own judgment. But as always, our usual disclaimer that what you hear over YouTube isn't exactly what I'm hearing right here in the studio, but it should give you guys a good flavour of what you can expect. Now, as always, make sure you guys get down in the comments below and let me know what you thought of the sound performance of this one. Now, hopefully, the first thing that you could tell from the demo was the bass and just how well that stands out. The low end is deep and powerful straight out of the box, and once you hit the extra bass button, you will easily fill a medium-sized room or outdoor space. I often found myself having to rein it back a little bit when I was listening indoors, not to distract some of the others here at the office when I was testing. Obviously, bass-heavy tracks were the standout here, but it did manage to find the bass notes in more mellow songs like Tom O'Dowd's Another Love Too. Even that was shaking my room when I whacked it up to full volume. Now, don't get me wrong, that might not be everybody's cup of tea, but considering this speaker's use case, you've got to give credit where credit's due. This is a very, very bassy speaker. Now the rest of the sound is pretty good too. Vocals are clear and the mids and highs are nice and balanced, and as I mentioned, it gets super loud. I rarely had to put it up to full volume, and even when I did, I didn't experience any distortion or anything like that. I also didn't find myself reaching for the app too much, but it was nice to have when I wanted to play around with things. The X3D mode is interesting, but it was a bit hit or miss in my opinion. Some tracks sounded really nice and did feel a little bit spatially, but others just felt a little bit airy and didn't really hit the way that I wanted them to. Now I did like that there was a traditional Blast preset, and this was a decent option if bass isn't really your thing, but I've got to say the most fun that I had with this one was with X bass turned on. It really unlocked this speaker's full potential, and if I were hosting a party, this would be the mode that I would use 100%. Now, I definitely don't think that this speaker would be one for the purists looking to sit down and do some critical listening, but in terms of hitting the brief of a party speaker, this one excels. Put it this way, the same money spent with JBL gets you an Extreme 3, which, while a great sounding speaker and more portable, isn't quite as party ready or as much of a powerhouse as this one. To get a similar experience, you'd need to upgrade to the BoomBox 3, which, as we've already established, costs significantly more. The same also goes for Sony's Altfield 7, for example, which is another comparable option too. The BoomBox 3 and the Altfield 7 offer a slightly more refined sound profile, and I know some people will be loyal to certain brands, and that might be enough alone to sway you, but you'll be paying more of a premium for that. For me, this speaker is packed full of features and offers a great sound performance for the price point. Now there are a few drawbacks. It's a hefty speaker to carry around, and yes, some of you might prefer the design or maybe the more refined sound quality of some of the more established brands, but ultimately, this is a powerful party-ready speaker that delivers a punchy and enjoyable sound experience that I know a lot of you guys will like. Plus, it undercuts a lot of what's already on the market, and it doesn't sacrifice a great deal in doing so. So if you're looking for a heavy-duty speaker, then I think this one is definitely worth taking a look at. Is it right for everybody? No, but for the right person, this will be the perfect budget party speaker that you'd be doing really well to beat for the price. Now, as always, make sure you get down in the comments and let me know what you guys think of this one. Is this the sort of thing for you or not? Hopefully you all enjoyed this video, and I'll catch all of you guys in the next one.